What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Triforce Addiction, and today I want to talk about the difficulty of Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. So I know that Zackpack actually made a video talking about the difficulty of this game, and how he's believing that this game might be a little bit dumbed down for everyone that's played this game in the past. So I decided that I think it's time for me to give you guys my take on this whole situation. So before I get into this, make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel and make sure to leave a like. We are on the road to 600 subscribers. We need just a little bit more before we reach that point, and then we could begin our road to the 700 subscriber mark. So yeah, make sure to do that. So without further ado, let's get into this, shall we? So in our Rehydrated Relief chat, we have actually been talking about the difficulty of this game and how some of us are kind of worried about it. So out of everyone in our Discord group chat, Zackpack is the one that's most worried, and ever since he made his video, I actually began to question it too, because we've taken, whenever we did our analysis video, we never actually pointed out too much about the game's difficulty. We only pointed out what was new, how the graphics look, what glitches are there, and what needs to be fixed. But out of everything, we never actually discussed the difficulty of the game. All of you guys should know, if you have been subscribed for a while now, that I've been doing all these analysis videos, and I like to keep it quick and to the point. I'm not Riders DX or Zackpack that examines the videos for like 10 minutes or more. I just like to keep it short and simple, because really there's not a lot of details to point out, at least in my eyes. But they point out the more nitty-gritty stuff. Me, I just point out, okay, this thing needs to be fixed, the graphics look amazing, yada yada. That's pretty much how I have it. And mine usually lasts like 6 to 8 minutes. So yeah, that's actually, I think that's why I kind of missed the whole difficulty topic. And naturally, I didn't really think too much about the difficulty because I really thought it was just going to be the same. I didn't really think much was going to change. I thought maybe the robots would be a little bit harder, maybe a little bit easier, or just somewhere in between, or just perfectly balanced, as all things should be. So when I saw Zackpack's video on how the difficulty seems to be dumbed down a little bit, it actually caught my attention because, like I said, I never really actually thought about it until now. And he was right, because all the details that he pointed out was that, some of the robots' AR weren't as smart as they were in the original game, like the hammer robot, for example, it notices you much later, and it doesn't really anticipate your movements, so it doesn't really strike early. It only strikes 5 seconds after it sees you, so basically you have all the time in the world to take him out. And in the original game, whenever you try go up against him, before you actually approach him, before you're in arm's reach of him, he will actually already trigger his hammer attack, and like that you could just be hit. Of course, it takes a little bit of doing to dodge him, because with this AI it's a little bit smarter than you think, so he could just literally anticipate everything you do. And that's what I kind of liked about it. It felt challenging, but it felt balanced just perfectly. So basically, Zack was saying that the alert radius that these robots have has been significantly reduced. They can't notice you from 100 feet away now. They can only notice you if you're 5 feet away from them. So yeah, it does kind of concern me, because I don't want to hit every robot effortlessly. I don't want every robot to be stupid as hell and not even notice you until it's too late. In one of the cutscenes of the Goo Lagoon trailer, where Patrick is defeating all those robots in the bumper cars, Zackpack actually also noticed that the G-Love robot actually wasn't aware of his presence at all. So Patrick was literally attacking every robot, killing every single one of them, while the G-Love robot, I'm just gonna call it the saucer robot because it looks like an alien saucer, to be honest with you guys. But anyways, it even the lights were red, he had that little red antenna, basically being aware that he's there, but he did not do anything. But a lot of people could argue that maybe this is just because they didn't have the G-Love robot active during that time, when they were actually recording the footage. And obviously it's an early build, so who knows, they probably already fixed it. And you've seen it in the downtown Bikini Bottom trailer, it's been fixed. I think the Goo Lagoon one was probably before. Maybe they just forgot to activate it. Who knows really why the saucer robot did not attack at the time. So right when he pointed that out, I thought about it for a second. I'm just wait, even if he was nerfed, I don't think it would have mattered because, you know, the G-Love robot is probably one of the easiest robots to face in this game, and it's made even easier now since you could like basically rope things in midair with Sandy. So like even nerfing his like his alert radius or anything like that wouldn't really make too much of a difference, because most of the time when you're like face to face against him, most of the time you're either Sandy or SpongeBob. Yeah, you'll face him a few times with Patrick, but it doesn't matter because you could just stun him by ground pounding. So really, like either way, this robot's screwed. Like, yeah, I kind of get, like, I get people don't want robots to get nerfed because it just takes the challenge out of this game. But there are some nerfs that happen that just won't even make a difference. And this is one of them. So eventually, Zach Pack decided to talk about the dreaded Chuck robot. So as you guys know, if you have been subscribed long enough, you guys would know that I hate the Chuck robot with a passion, Like there are a lot of people, this has kind of like been a heated topic on one of my videos. Specifically the one that has like over 20,000 views. It's like surprisingly, I still can't even believe I have that many views. But anyways, yeah, it's become a heated topic because, I talked about how overpowered the Chuck robot was, how he's always precise, he never misses, his hitbox is like completely fucked for SpongeBob. Yeah, and like, it's been kind of like a heated topic on that video. But the reason why I say that is because, for a kid's game, it could be kind of difficult, and the way his AI predicts your movements and everything, it's kind of counterintuitive if you think about it. Counterintuitive meaning that, like, if you're trying to learn something and like you learn it in the most logical way possible, but yet you're still wrong for it, so you have to figure it out in a very different way. And sometimes, let's say if you do figure it out, it sometimes doesn't work. And that's basically how this robot is. He's very counterintuitive. Like, let's say you try to duck him, like, right, he's about to throw a missile at you, and like for some reason you think you're gonna like evade it, and you end up getting hit anyways. It's because this robot has this thing where, like, once it's already has the torpedo in his hand, sometimes if you move, like, he'll basically kind of like shift his aim towards you and he'll hit you anyways. So I know a lot of people in the comments of that specific video I made said like, oh, what's wrong with that? I'm being a little bit over dramatic with this robot. And it's just so stupid because, I mean, they don't understand what's wrong with this robot, like what's truly wrong with it. I understand all of you guys have your opinions and I completely get it. I get why you say what you say. But the thing here is that it's this issue is more complex than you think. It's not just me saying that, oh, this robot is just overpowered and I want him to be nerfed because, I don't like him. And it's not because I don't like him, it's because it's much more than that. And let me explain to you guys why. To me, it's all about the learning process. For every one of you guys to understand it, you have to look at it in a kid's perspective, As a kid, you're learning how to conquer new things every day, You guys are learning new math problems, Kids are learning just like all this type of shit. And, when they learn something or when they figure out a solution for something, they should be rewarded for learning it correctly. And that's how it goes in everyday life, If you do something right, you get rewarded for it. And you should never be punished for finding the right solution to a problem. So let me give you a scenario right here. So, let's say you're a 7-year-old or 8-year-old kid that's playing Battle for Bikini Bottom right now, and you're trying to figure out how to beat the Chuck robot, and obviously, the obvious solution is to evade it and hit it. So the kid tries to do that, and, he evades it to the best of his abilities, and somehow he still gets punished for it. And, if a kid sees that, or anyone sees that, they're gonna get pissed because they're gonna be like, okay, what the fuck? I did the right thing. Why am I being punished for this? So this could happen to a child or to an adult at any age. Any problem that they face, they find a solution, they get punished for it, they're gonna be frustrated the more it happens. Eventually it gets so bad to the point where they're not gonna want to deal with the problem anymore. Like, let me give you guys an example. So when I was recording part 9, I went into the kelp slide. Like, I beat the time challenge and everything, and I wasn't rewarded. Some glitch happened. I don't know what the fuck happened in that moment. You guys will see it later on, or you guys will, I'll probably have a link to the video. And like, for like 40 minutes, I'm trying to figure out, okay, why? Like, I beat the time challenge 3 times in a row, and I never got the golden spatula for it. And Mermaid Man was just like, oh, keep trying. And I'm just like, dude, where the fuck is my spatula, right? You know, you're doing something right and you get nothing out of it. And I could have easily cut that piece of the video out, like where I like had to figure out why I wasn't getting the spatula. I could have cut it out easily, but I didn't leave it there because I knew at some point I would make a video about this. I don't know why, I just knew. And yeah, like I said, I think it was a good thing that I didn't cut anything out, because like as you guys could see, like throughout that video, like for me, like it kept happening over and over again where I wasn't getting the spatula for doing the right thing. I was getting more frustrated. I was losing my patience. I kept failing every single time I went down the slide. You know, like my focus was completely like damaged. Part 9 of my final Let's Play is basically a perfect example of what happens to someone's like psyche when they end up getting punished for doing the right thing. Like I said, the more and more I tried getting the spatula and I kept failing no matter what I did, and like no matter how many times I did it right, it started to piss me off. Because, you know, like I said, like when it comes to like natural human behavior, when you're learning something and you figure out the solution, you should be rewarded for it. You should never be punished for something like that. Another good example of being punished for doing something right is when you're fighting Robot Plankton in SpongeBob's brain. So, you know, like a lot of people, like I said, have this issue with Plankton where they, you know, they throw their cruise bubble and, you know, they think they're gonna hit him, and, you know, they're right on target, and somehow the cruise bubble just goes right through him. And this is something that I actually like studied a lot. You know, I've seen a lot of Let's Plays of this game, and I've actually like recently I've went on a lot of gameplays where they go to that, they make it to that point, and like most of them actually end up like having their missiles go right through Robot Plankton, and each of their reactions just like, dude, what the fuck? And one thing I do tend to notice right after that is that they tend to lose a little bit focus when they're playing because they are too busy being pissed off about what just happened. And this happens to me on a regular basis. You know, like for me, I play Call of Duty and, you know, I get bullshit a lot. Like, you know, I get killed like by someone that I know for a fact I should have killed. And like, you know, I end up getting pissed off for it, and I focus too much on what happened that I lose my focus on everything else, and I end up getting screwed even more. So yeah, when this happens to someone, let alone a kid, it can have a lot of negative effects on their mind. So right here is pretty much the real, like absolute true reason why I don't like this robot, because it just affects the learning process in such a negative way that it ends up like fucking with your mind, and you end up getting frustrated and you end up losing focus over everything else. So one day, I think it was this past week or the week before, Zach actually went into Shift's live stream, and he ended up actually asking Shift if they made any changes to the Chuck robot. So Shift basically said that he was made ridiculously easy to the point where his torpedo was so slow and you had like pretty much all the time in the world to dodge it. And like for me, like when I heard that, I was like picturing it in my head how it's gonna go down, and I'm just like, oh man. So yeah, basically what I'm saying is the Chuck robot was nerfed finally, but I think it, like basically what from Zach Pack is saying, it looks like it got nerfed to oblivion. And that's where I feel kind of bad about it. Look, I don't know when they nerfed this thing. I'm hoping it wasn't because what I said, because look, when I said nerf it, I meant just nerf the awareness and just nerf its accuracy just by a little bit, so you won't get punished every single time you try to dodge it. That's really all I wanted. I didn't want this Chuck robot to be nerfed so bad to the point where it's like there's no point of it being in the game, you know? I just wanted it just to be toned down, like just slightly, so, you know, any kid that plays this game won't fucking feel like shit whenever they try to do the right thing. But as of right now, we really don't know how the robots are gonna be, because I mean, like what we're seeing were like early builds, and you know, if the Chuck robot was fully developed by the time that Shift went over there to, you know, test out the game, they probably already like tuned him like to make him perfectly balanced for this remake. So like I said, we really don't know how these robots are gonna behave in this game. Zach also talked about, you know, the different symbols are on certain buttons that have to be hit with certain like tactics, such as the cruise bubble or the bowling ball. You know, like each of those buttons have a new little symbol like basically telling you what to do with that button. And you know, he said he had a problem with that because he felt like it made it too easy. But you know, at the same time, even without it, you know, kids aren't really that stupid. So like, I mean, as a kid, it didn't take me like an hour to figure that out, you know. Like if I try to hit it and I missed it, obviously I have to hit it with the bowling ball or something. That's one thing that kind of gets me, you know. Like I know, like as time has gone by, people have been more stupid recently, you know. Like you know, you see videos of people just doing stupid shit, or you know, you see people like solving a problem, you know, find X and someone marks a circle that says here it is. You know, people aren't like, as stupid as those things look, people aren't really that stupid. And since this game is targeted for children, like that's something that you have to take into account too, you know. Kids aren't really that dumb, you know. Kids are pretty intelligent. I mean, if they could handle like all the pressure there is in Fortnite, you know, having to build stuff while being shot at, and you know, like just the complete pressure of that, I'm pretty sure they could handle this. I mean, like, come on, kids aren't really that dumb, you know. So yeah, I kind of agree with Zackpack there. Those things were kind of like weren't really necessary, because I mean, like either way the kid's gonna figure it out. It doesn't take them like more than a minute to. So yeah, it's not like if they're gonna never figure it out and they're gonna be stuck there forever, you know. And if they don't figure it out, man, this planet's future is in trouble. So based on what I've been hearing, like throughout this whole thing, like how this game's gonna be so like ridiculously easy, I kind of believe it and I kind of don't believe it, because I mean, we don't know. Like I said, these builds were like early in, and like basically what From Shift said, like I don't know how he knows that the robot has been nerfed. You know, maybe he did see it when he was playtesting the game like back in October. But like I said, we don't know how the robots have changed since then. We don't know if it's gonna be that difficult, and if it's gonna be easy, like yeah, it's gonna suck, but I mean, it's still gonna be a good game no matter what, man. Like even if it's hard, like it's not gonna take a kid like an hour to figure out how to beat a boss, or like a simple robot, you know. It like, people aren't that stupid. Do I believe that changes need to be made in this game? Yes, I obviously do. Like there are some changes that need to be made to make the game a little bit simpler and a little bit less tedious, like the Chug robot, for example. Like I said, I never wanted him to be nerfed to oblivion. Like I don't like that idea, but I just wanted him to be nerfed, like just toned down a little bit to the point where he won't punish you for dodging it correctly literally all the fucking time. Just nerf his accuracy and his alert radius, and that's all you had to do. That's just by a little bit. Like even the smallest change matters. But you know, don't overdo it, you know. So that's gonna pretty much conclude today's video. So anyways, you know, time will tell really how difficult this game's gonna be. You know, later on, probably this week, I'm gonna have a video talking about the multiplayer, because I do have some questions there too. But anyways, that's gonna be it. Like I said, make sure to subscribe for more Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated content. Make sure to follow Zackpack too, because you know, he kind of gave me this idea for this video. So anyways, my name is Triforce Addiction. Have a wonderful day.